Hey there, thanks for stopping by. My name is Travis, and this is Travis Does Kayak Fishing. Today I'm in the garage, and I just have a quick video that I want to film, get out there, and talk to you guys about some lures that I wish I knew about or wish I used when I first got into fishing. But I'm going to go through this, show it to you, tell you guys what it is, why I would fish it, and how I would use it today if I could go back in time and do it all over again. The first lure I would put in my arsenal is the same one you've probably heard about a ton, and it's just a wacky rig. I would pair it up with like a mosquito ultralight because I buy these. I use them for drop shot. I use them for fishing my plastic flukes. I use them for the wacky rig just by hooking it about through where the egg sac would be. This is on the 5.7 Lures Flexo 5 Travis Does Kayak Fishing. This is a really good lure because it'll get you bites all year long. It doesn't matter if it's spring, summer, fall, winter, they'll bite this. They're better about it when it's hot outside and when the sun's rising or when you're casting it under overhang. They really like that. This is a dock killer. This is a lay down killer. It's a mini structure killer. If you can master this, you can do great. There's two trains of thoughts with it. One, if I'm out there in muddy water, I want to be out from the bank about 12 to 20 foot, casting up to the shallow and like a fan motion, letting it fall, letting it sink, let it go slackline and rest for a minute, and then pop, pop. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times and roll it up, come back. Doesn't matter if it's 5 foot from the bank or 50 foot from the bank. I'm going to throw it out there, pop, 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 pop. If there's no bite on that third one, come on back. The odds get significantly lower the more you pop it back to. Not saying you won't get one. You can get them fishing this guy across the top of the water really fast like a top water. If they're going for that, it'll work. But this is versatile. It's easy to use. If the water is clear and not muddy, instead of being back that 12 to 20 foot range and fan casting in, I'll go back to about 5 to 10 foot and I'll do either parallel out to the color line where the water changes or run along the shallow and pop it back, especially in the spring and the fall when the big girls are coming up shallow. They'll do it in the summer too, but the numbers are higher in spring and fall. So really shallow and then cast it out from about mid-range in. You'll find a lot of bites with a wacky rig. It's really cheap. You don't have to get the Yamamoto. You can get a Yum Dinker. You can get a 4.7 Lure Flexo 5. Put it on a mosquito ultralight hook. Put it on a spinning rod, something medium, medium light. I wouldn't go any less than that. You want some backbone in this single hook. Put it on 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon line. Straight fluorocarbon is fine. You want it to sink a little, so throw it out there, let it sink some. Wacky rig is the number one lure any new beginner to kayak bass fishing or fishing in general really should pick up because it'll catch you a lot of fish. It'll catch you big fish. Get a green pumpkin or watermelon and a June bug color. You get those, you're covered for stained and dirty water, and you're covered for the light water. Use that June bug and the stained or dirty. Use that light coloring for it. You can really use either or, but this is just best practice, right? This is what'll get you the most bites and the most effective bites. Standing out, contrasting the water. Now, if you're not wanting to do the wacky rig, if you want to go a little faster, I've got another soft plastic for you that allows you to do that, and it's cheap as well. It's a paddle tail paired up with just a jig. This is one of the easiest bait fish imitators you're going to find, and it's going to work on about any water you go to. This is the 4.7 Lure. It's the Mardi Gras color, but I also like a true shad. I typically use either some kind of silver chrome or a shad color. You know, this is the Easy Shiner from Kitech. These are fantastic to use with it. If you need something more manufactured and store-bought, you go for these. But put it on there. You just feed it down onto the hook. The paddle tail can be up or down depending on what you want. Some people like it either way. I like it just paddle tail down. And we're just going to smash that guy up against the front of the hook. That is ready to tie on and fish. I like to put this guy, if I'm going on a spinning rod, I'm talking medium heavy. Maybe medium, but most of the time medium heavy. It's single hook, so I want to set it and keep some pressure on. Or I'm going medium heavy on like a bait caster. Because again, single hook, I want something heavy in there. I want something I can set and really rip that into the fish with. Single hook, you want that. But a paddle tail, it'll work. You can fish this guy around docks, points, wasteland, high in the water column, low in the water column, bouncing off things. This will get you bites pretty much anywhere you fish, any time of year. Like the wacky rig, this is a 1-2 punch. If you have a wacky rig, you're probably going to know about the paddle tail. If you start out with these two lures when you first get into fishing, You're gonna get bites. You're gonna get them fast. They're easy. They're forgiving. Go slow with this one. You can go fast or slow with this one. Just depends on what the fish you're biting on. But get that, fish that. Go slow. Or do spinning. Bait caster doesn't matter. But 641 is probably as high as I'd want to go with it. I don't think you need to burn this guy any faster than that. So we've got two: the Wacky rig, and we've got the paddle tail on just a ball pig. This next one is one I didn't use for a long time, and it grew on me as my favorite as I caught more fish and bigger fish and found out just how easy and effective it is to use, and the fact that I don't see a lot of people using it at events or saying they're using it at least. But uh, that's the Lipless. I can absolutely go off on a Lipless. This one's seen better days. He's busted up. It's a Jackal TN70 in shad, and this one is the Spro Uruku shad at 75. I love both of these. This one's about $8. This one's about 16. This one's more compact and a little better balanced. I can throw this guy almost completely across the lake. There's witnesses that can testify to this. I can throw this guy a really long ways as well. This guy is cheaper. This guy costs more. This MF shad is probably my favorite color in it. And you can see it has like that metal up front. So when you're hitting on things in the bottom, it gets really loud. That tungsten metal. I believe it's tungsten they have up there. I don't think it's lead. And then you have this Spro Uruku shad, which has the really loud rattles inside of it. This has some good rattles too. But you can tell the difference. This is a heavier. This more. It's going to make a lot of noise. I have two ways I'll fish this, and really no other way. It's always on a spinning rod. If I were telling you what combo to put this on, I would on a medium or medium fast, maybe medium heavy, but probably medium fast because I like to fish this guy at the bottom. I like to throw this lure out as far as I can and just let him sink all the way down. And when he sinks down, I'll slowly retrieve and bounce off things. And I get a lot of bites like that. The most fun fishing I ever had on Lake Hartwell was up in Stevens County fishing a Spro Uruku shad. It was in chrome and black, which is actually my favorite Uruku shad color. The chrome and black. If you see that in 75, that's a good one. I got out there, I threw him out, and within like 20, 25 minutes, I had like 17-inch fish back to back to back to back to back. As fast as I could unhook them and put up a new Facebook post smiling, with another fish on the line. I'll link the video down below, including videos where I use all these lures extensively, so you guys can see I'm not just lying to you. I actually use them this way, and they do work. But the Lipless, it's great. Whether you're slow crawling on the bottom like I talked about, or you're doing that number 2 retrieve, the yo-yo, you're just ripping them up, letting them fall, ripping them up, letting them fall. And you can do that and vary all through the water column until you find them. And then you know about where you need to be at. Because I find sometimes they want this on the very bottom. Sometimes they want it just off the bottom. Sometimes they want you moving up that water column, and they're going to hit it even right by the boat. They're going to be following it until they think this guy's coming up to the top, and then they're going to hit it. The Lipless crankbait is easy. It can be affordable. You just need a couple colors, either a shad color or a chrome, and like a crawl color will do. You can get a dark black one if you really have like uber dirty water, but this chrome, this red, not chrome, I'm sorry, with the gold on it and the black, that's perfect for staying in muddy water. That'll get you bites. These work. Again, medium, I like to throw on about a 12-pound line with that because I like to come through weeds and stuff too. It works on grass. I'm not so good around laydowns, as you can imagine. It sinks and gets snagged, but grass, around docks, points, rocks, I like to use them around that. All right, so a fun one here. Everybody wants some top water. And as far as top water goes, it can be frustrating if you're new. It's what everybody wants to get on, but you don't have confidence. They seem complicated. They don't seem very fun. Here's what I recommend to you. The Berkeley Choppo. You can get the River to Sea. The River to Sea actually retrieves a little easier. These make a better sound, and you just want a subtle sound, and you want to gug, 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 gug. Sometimes you want to go faster. But the whole trick to this, the whole trick to the plopper, no matter where you're throwing it, you can be throwing it over laydowns. You can be throwing across points. You can be painting dock edges. You could be offshore, and they could be chasing, and I've got bites doing that. I don't think it's the most effective offshore, but it works. The trick is, when you're fishing this guy, despite this being a treble hook, you're going to get some aggressive topwater. You want this to be on a heavy, heavy light, heavy fast, something reactive so that you can let the rod bend a little before you rip it up. You really want to set the hook with these trebles. But you want to fish it out there. You want to be on about 16, 17-pound line is what I find. 15 works great too. You want this on braid with like a 20-pound leader or straight up braid. And when I say 20-pound leader, I mean that 20-pound leader and like 20 foot of it. Give yourself plenty of slack to tie, retie it so the fish don't see it. But you want the braid so it doesn't sink, or you want the straight fluorocarbon leader on there so that as soon as you hit the water, you can start retrieving. They won't see it and they'll come back. But that brings me to my point. When it hits the water, a lot of people like to throw, hit, go. When this whopper plopper hits the water, it's gonna make ripples, and those ripples are gonna work out. You want to let it sit there. You want to let it be upright in the water, or even just sitting like that. Most of the time, it's going to be kind of upright bobbing. Let those ripples disappear and give it a quick churn, churn, churn. You're going to guggle, guggle, guggle. You'll be amazed at how many times you throw a flopper where they're chasing a school. He's just sitting there. You ripple, and they take it then. Or guggle, guggle, and they'll get it right before that third one. Something about that they can't say no to, but throw this around docks. Get it in a bluegill pattern, get it in a shad pattern. Bluegill if you're fishing up by the get it in a bluegill pattern if you're fishing up by the bank. Get it in a shad pattern if you're fishing offshore or where there's just a bunch of shad, or even in clear water. But the bluegill, it'll work anywhere too. Right, primarily up by the bank is where I like it. And the shad one, if I'm seeing them offshore, if I'm out in deeper docks where the dock's like 40 foot over, I'll throw this guy a lot of the time by the edge of the docks, and I'll get my strikes that way. Again, there'll be videos down in the description where I'm using all these lures at in a specific video where I think you can really benefit. And if you have any questions, let me know. And now the last one. I'm getting you here with a trick. It's kind of a two lure system here, but they both fish a lot alike. People compare them the same, and really, I get it, man. There's not a lot of difference here. One gets made fun of, one doesn't. That's really the primary difference. The shaky head. This is not a traditional owner shaky head. I actually don't have one out right now. I'll show you. But again, the picture here. This is like an owner's. It's one I use a lot. Tim Prosser of Prosser Baits, local here in South Carolina. He makes a great one too. This one is a 4.7 lure shaky head. It's not meant to have a keeper where you kind of Texas rip this like you normally would one. Let's say I was going to put this Hope Smash from 4.7 lures. It's their 6-inch finesse worm. First thing I want to give you a tip on, if you want to go smaller, if the 6-inch seems too big for you, you can break this guy off right where the egg sac starts. That takes you down to a perfect 5-inch. So now you have a 5-inch finesse worm versus 6-inch finesse worm. We're going to feed that guy through to about where he needs to come out. That's about right. I've about got this dialed in now. I've done it so much here lately. And we're going to straighten that. Now that lure, it doesn't look like much. But when I tell you, when I got into competitive fishing, I didn't know anything about the shaky head, but after one event, I knew exactly what it was. Everybody was throwing this. Everybody was catching fish on it. I was struggling. Once you unlock the shaky head, you can catch a lot of fish. This is a lure you simply throw out there towards your target, whether it's a lay down by a dock or you're just covering wasteland. Throw it as far as you can, but try and be as quiet as you can. That's super important when you're fishing these finesse lures. With a crankbait or something, you're making noise anyway. You can get their attention, you can pull it back. Obviously, the more quiet you hit the water, the better. But with these guys, practice getting low to the water. If you can go parallel, a lot of people when they cast, they throw these bombs. I'm bad about it too. It's when they get away from me. Some people will toss them, they'll go slightly higher, but if you can get them, so they're really just gliding across the water. When they hit, they don't thud. They just kind of soak right in. I've got a buddy named the Doc Dinger. He's got a channel where he excels at this. He's the reason I went to using a bait caster for my shaky head, and its counterpart that I want to tell you about, the Ned rig. Both of these guys are a lot alike. They both get fished a lot alike. The lures are interchangeable. Just because you're using a Ned rig doesn't mean that's an ugly setup. I'm going to have to rip that lure some. Just because you're using a Ned rig doesn't mean you can't put a bigger lure on it. Let's say I've been fishing a shaky head. I'm throwing him out there, and I'm raising my rod tip from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And whenever I hit a rock or a stick, I'm stopping, and I'm just wiggling a second and seeing if anything's taking it. Just wiggle. Just wiggle. Don't move. Just lift when you feel a tick, wiggle, and if you feel another thump, then you bend down, set the hook. However, Let's say you're not getting bites on that and you want to do something different, but you know it's a finesse type of day. You know it's hot out, the sun's pushing, the fish aren't chasing, you're not seeing them spread out. They've got to be under docks, they've got to be under laydowns and brush. You can go with the Ned rig and you can get in there as well, like the Shaky head. Some days they just want something smaller. This is a typical standard TRD size, right? What you'd see in like the Z-Mine TRD that's standard. This is the Wiggle Light 2.7 from 4.7 Lures. But let me show you something. This, my friends, is a shaky head worm, right? It looks a little different from the Hulk Smash, right? It gets a little skinnier. This is my Zoom. This is one of my favorite Zoom colors. It's called Houdini. It's got like a clear, cloudy side and then a watermelon side with red, gold, and black flakes in there. And the fish go crazy. I absolutely popped off on Lake Bowen with this lure and caught fish all day long. Video down below. It's the one I'm referencing. You can put this guy on a Ned rig. It doesn't have to be the Shaky head. It's going to fish the same. You can go really small with him. My favorite thing to do with the Ned rig, not the Shaky, but the Ned rig, take the Flexo 5. Take your Wacky rig that we talked about earlier. A lot of these lures, you can intertwine. I'm going to rip him about in half. Notice the top half is about the size of that TRD. I can still use that. That's my fatter half. I can keep that. But I like this tail half. I like to take this tail half and I like to feed him down there about right. Look at that. And it's a wiggle machine, man. It wiggles a little more than, the fat end would. Not that that's bad. But look at that. When you drop that and that's going down in the water, that's amazing. I think in these Ned rigs, you want pretty much the same setup as the Shaky head. You're talking 10 to 12 pound line. You're talking fluorocarbon or you're talking copolymer. You could even get by with mono, but with a single hook, I think you want something that has a little less stretch. So like fluorocarbon or a braid with leader, or even copolymer is a little better. It's not quite as much stretch as mono, but I'd stay away from that on this. I think you're better off sticking to like a fluorocarbon or a fluorocarbon leader. I think it's a single hook. You want medium, the medium heavy. I don't know that you need heavy, but yeah, I throw that guy out there and I would fish him the same way. I'd slowly drag. Sometimes you can just reel him in because look at that tail. If you're just running him through the water, he's going to swim through there. I like to spike the tip with chartreuse, and I like to catch fish. And all these lures catch fish. That's 5 lures that had I been using 5 years ago, I would be substantially better off than I was now. I spent so much time watching these other YouTube videos where they're going to ponds and they're playing with these weird lures. I'm watching the New York kayak angler dude who's throwing out rats and snakes. And, I'm trying to be like him because that's what people want to see. That's what I thought. In reality, people just want to see you catch fish and they want to see you learn and be a good person out there. And what I found, the easiest way to catch fish is to use the lures that are easy to use, that attract the fish attention. The lipless crankbait has a vibration to it, so even if you're in muddy water, it'll work. You can get them non-vibrating as well. The Ned rig and Shaky head work in all conditions. Man, if there's a lure you want to start with, if you don't want to go as slow as the Wacky rig, which you need a finesse, get in on that Ned or Shaky head. Get in on the paddle tail. If you don't want that Wacky rig, get in on that top water in the summertime. Hey, man, if you're using that Wacky rig and that's not very much fun to you, take that same hook you have and just the super fluke. And this is your bonus, right? This is your 6-1. I showed it to you earlier. Just going to feed it through the nose a little bit. You can put that on a spinning, and you can actually put this like a medium light, medium fast, something like that. I would say medium fast is about where you'd want to go for it. But put him on a medium fast, and you can then jerk that guy around like a jerk bait through the water. You can retrieve him back swim style, burn him and stop. You can do a lot with these same hooks over and over. Mosquito ultralight hooks, some Wacky rig worms, paddle tail and a jig, a Choppo, Lipless and Shaky air and finesse. If you go with these, you're gonna catch a lot of fish. And keep your colors simple. For your hard baits, offshore shad. For your shallow bluegill. For your soft plastics, whites, chromes, watermelons, green pumpkins. Those are great for your clear to stained waters. And then when you get to the more stained and muddy side of things, start looking at your June bugs, start looking at your chocolate jimmies, start looking at your leech colors, your blacks, your blues. Those things are fantastic under the water. But these are those lures, if I'd been using, I feel like I'd catch more. And I'm repeating myself, so I'm gonna call it. Thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. If this is your comment, like, comment, subscribe. And while you're here, YouTube thanks for like the video on the left. Here's a gear playlist on the right where I talk about all my toys. I think you're going to like some of these. If this is your content, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.